I love the shock and awe that we have when we first come on. We haven't come up with a better intro yet, so yeah, we should do that whole freeze thing.
Got it, the end of chips.
Yeah. There you go, perfect.
I gotta get rid of the fish
at the end. We'll do it at the beginning, and all the credits roll up.
Yeah.
Hello
Exactly.
and welcome to season 2, episode 16 of Carvers and Creators, a weekly demonstration and discussion with pumpkin carvers, sculptors, and multi-talented artists. We please ask that you please consider give us a like and a follow on the platform you're watching us on, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from and if you have any questions for the carvers and our special guest. My name is Michael Mondragon. I'll be running the show, moderating comments, and chiming in from time to time. Let's meet the carvers. First, he is an artist and sculptor from Boston, Massachusetts. He's the 2019 champion of Food Network's Outrageous Pumpkins, Paul Dever. Welcome.
There he is.
Guilty as charged. Happy Thursday, everybody.
And the crowd goes wild.
Oh, of course.
Next, he's a multimedia sculpture artist from Tucson, Arizona, and a finalist on Halloween Wars 2019 on the Food Network. His computer is working tonight. He is Matt Harper. Welcome.
God bless us all. Thank you. Thank you.
And
I got to get a better picture, by the way.
What's that?
I got to get a better picture. I look like
there is no better picture. You look damn God. You look like a god in that photo.
Yeah, stop it.
Our returning guest is a foam fabricator, creature creator, puppet builder, monster maker, and a film industry professional for over 30 years.
There he is.
Working on such movies as Hunger Games, Avatar, and the League of Extraordinarily Gentlemen. What? Can I say that?
That's the one. Sure.
Extraordinary.
You need total anonymity for
just to name a few. He's the foam fabber himself, Ted Haines. Welcome, Ted.
Hey, hello, guys.
There he is.
Hey!
I love this picture of myself here with the Yoda, and he's always over my shoulder, but I get to see my beard getting grayer and grayer all the time. It's kind of like,
You know, there is Just for Men. No play.
just what? I don't get it.
It looks good. It looks great. I love it. I can't wait to go gray instead of having it all go away.
Well, there's that.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
What? Dude, look at I got black hair and it's falling out. It's like accentuating it.
Oh, there you go.
You should see my lower back. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. You put the
That's where it's
Rogan
going.
wrong.
It's like a
Rogan's supposed
catch-all.
to be up here. Yeah, you watched it.
Oh, getting old is so much fun. And a kid. Shut up,
It gets
Mick.
better
with your
every
golden
year.
With your locks.
Yeah, look at you, Mickey with the hair helmet.
I know. Stop judging from up there on your pedestal. Come down off your high horse.
On high
Mondragon.
there, yes.
So let's look. We actually didn't have a carve last week because it
Happy
was Thanksgiving.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But we did
Thanksgiving.
have one that was a suspicious fantasy character, and this
Love
is
it.
Matt's. So tell us about this, Matt.
Dude, you're the king of hair.
Well, I found that this guy had the perfect man bun already built in when I picked him up. But
Perfect.
yeah, this was like an elf king kind of somebody like suspicious, worried about why he. And I was trying to get kind of like a shaved hair looking thing on one side, and then just the comb over going. But anyway, I was mildly okay with this one. But I'm,
No seam is even visible on that ear either.
yeah.
I
And
don't
so
know
his
where
ear
the hell
in-
you glued it on, but it's dynamite.
I can show you. I can look if you really want to.
Don't spoil the magic.
Okay, never mind. It was
I want to
made like
live in
that.
Magic Land.
Yeah, like this guy. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's dude. Everything structurally and anatomically about it is really cool.
Awesome.
Even the way the stem rolls into like the man bun.
Yeah.
He almost
Thank
looks.
you,
He
yeah.
almost looks like a queen, but not. He's a little.
He's a
master.
king. But
Yeah.
elves kind of blur that line, right?
Well, honestly, he could be whatever you want these days. He could identify as a squash. It doesn't really matter.
he identifies as a Hubbard. Yeah.
He's a Hubbard, yeah. Well, no, he could identify as a pumpkin. It's nobody's business.
Oh.
What he identifies as.
Yeah. We're cool with everything. Yeah.
And here is Paul's. Paul.
Uh,
no?
Oh, nice.
No, I like it. That's
Stop
Say,
it.
you're on the fence on this one. This is fantastic.
This is like this one jumped to my like top 5 of your. I don't know which one it bumped out, Paul, but when I saw this is like so. I mean, the way you did the horns coming around like that was just so perfectly thought through. And anyway, and the hair or anyway, I'm looking at every part of it. It's really great, Paul.
Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
The stem's got a lot of character. I love all the little squiggly bits on the stem.
That makes
just part of it, right?
It makes it so much better. Yeah, it's so great.
I keep like a pile of them so I can glue them on as needed.
Did you? Okay.
You got it. You have to, because if you keep them around that long, they fall off anyway. So it's like I put them on. Oh, sorry, I ripped that one off trying to get another one, and so yeah, that one had it, and I ended up having to take some of it off because it was like really, there was so much of it falling in the face that I kind of had to pick and choose. Because I had put all the little pieces in for like the hair and trying to make it more gold sprite like.
Yeah, it looks like he's being judgmental about the hair that is falling over his head.
Yeah, exactly. He's suspicious of what the hell you're putting on his head. That's what what you going on up there? I actually took a picture of me later on playing cards with him. We might have had a few drinky poos after, and I was playing poker with him, and he was looking up like. He
didn't trust you at all. Yeah.
No, he's super judgmental.
Very. Yeah.
And I love the accents a little like above the eyebrows where the eyebrows would be, and then around the ears.
Yeah, little sprouts there. That's so great.
And the kind of mole slash, it's not a pimple, but it's like, I mean, it's so good on the cheek. Yeah, so good.
It's an inverted mole, if you will. It's a mole, holy moly, mole.
That's what the fawns have, Mickey. You don't know that? I mean, come on.
Fawns have inverted moles. Everybody knows
how it works in Fantasyland.
It's more of a foal, really.
Okay. Well, yeah. I love it.
Thanks. I enjoyed it.
Well, somebody who did not show their work was Monique Hawk. So proper shaming going out to her. Let's see what she got. I mean, she was carving with us that night.
That's right. So she owes us one carving
right now and find out where the hell that thing's at.
That's right. We're nothing but mad at this point.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were going to shame me that it took me how many months to finish mine.
Don't worry, we'll get to you.
I know. The ultimate.
But Ted, first, we'd like to reintroduce you to the 4th member of Carvers and Creators. It is the hollow wheel, the center spinner, and as always, Paul will explain more now as what we're going to be carving.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me just get my S together here on the wheel. 1 week off. You think it's like I forgot how to do everything. Sorry.
Oh, there he is. Hey,
happy Thursday, kids. How's everybody doing? All right. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that good stuff. It's the holiday season. So because of that, we have added Christmas. Xmas. Should have just put holiday, but it's too hard to spell. I don't know what to do.
We got to shorten stuff. It's a small wheel.
It's all about, I'm like a, what do you call it? Stenographer.
Yeah.
So first spin, we're going to have Christmas, allergic reaction, clown, nerdy, botched plastic surgery, which is
crazy. Please don't land on that.
Oh, I think it's a good one. Frankenstein, or it could just be Frank, guy you knew from high school, whatever. Guest choice, so get ready.
That would be Ted's decision.
Abstract sculpt, which I still don't understand what it even means. Primate and demonic, sorry, because 2 different things. Then we have sulking, hysterical, suspicious, irritated, drunk, grizzled, diseased, euphoric, charismatic, and repulsive.
Oh,
that's a lot of stuff to think about, kids.
I know we got it. I just hope that there's like 3 things I don't want it to land on. So just go ahead and spin it.
I don't know how many spots are on the wheel, but I hope it doesn't land on any. I hope the wheel breaks at some point.
Yeah, it just flies off the table.
You know what? You got to push yourself. If you're nervous about what you're going to carve, that's a good thing. Remember that. So here we go. Frank.
Boy, didn't we just do 2 Frankensteins?
No, I didn't. Did you?
Didn't we? With the stitches and everything?
Are you on another show I don't know about, Harper?
The Frankenstein show.
The Frankenstein Weekly, it seems like. Yeah.
Do you want to? We can't respin. We never respin. It could be Frank Sinatra. It just says
There
Frank.
you go.
Good
Frank
point.
Burns.
Could be frankly, I don't give a damn about what you just spun. I'm going to cover whatever I want. Ow, that hurt.
Could be a hot dog.
No, we're not doing suspicious again.
No, we just did that. All right, so
And
now
I
we
take
can
it back.
respin.
We're doing a respin because that's the rule too.
Okay, are we respinning the whole thing?
No, why do you want to respin the whole thing?
Because if we're going to respin the mood, we might as well.
Papa, you need a Snickers. You need a Snickers bar. You get a little Deverish.
Yeah, beer isn't working.
Euphoric. Jesus, Christmas. We get these a lot, but whatever. Happy Frank. Frank Sinatra's a good choice.
Okay.
Frank Stallone would be a really
Ooh,
Deep dive, Frank.
1,000%.
You want to go down the rabbit hole? We'll do Frank Stallone.
Oh my goodness.
That's
But
funny.
who else? Who else we got? Frankie.
Frankie Avalon. Frankie.
Big girls.
There you go.
Francis.
From Stripes.
Oh,
Lighten up,
Airplane.
Francis.
Lighten up, Francis.
Oh, what's it? Yes. Stripes. Yeah, don't call him
Psycho.
Francis.
Right.
Yeah.
My friends in my car club call me Psycho.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah,
the
Hall
best
of
thing.
Fame
Lighten up,
pumpkin here.
Frank.
Now, Ted, since you've quote unquote carved with us before, and we'll talk about that because I can't wait. But you're carving with us tonight, right?
You're in. Yes.
Yes.
It's a real gourd. It's not a Funkin and it's not foam.
Yes.
I found this a few weeks ago and it's actually really sweaty. I've had it in the refrigerator. So,
Oh,
You had it on a
I got it home, washed it off really well and stuck it in the fridge. I think it's still good. It feels a little bit, I don't know how thick it is. It feels like it's like maybe only like a half an inch. We'll see what it is, but
hey, yeah.
I'm going to try it. And I have never carved a pumpkin before. I mean, aside from like, a jack-o'-lantern,
Really?
Okay.
So I've got this one, I see you guys using a lot of like these flat, and then I've got a brand new little tiny set of the same ribbon sculpting tools. So I'm hoping that, and then I've got, a couple of razor blades, X-Actos, things like that. And if I have to, I've got a Dremel over here, and I've got
Dremel.
chainsaws, whatever you need.
I've got turkey carving knives. Got a drill sitting right here. So yeah, I'm out in my shop, so I can grab just about anything.
Right on.
Yeah, go ahead, Mickey.
Yeah, so we want to encourage everybody to create with us. And we're going to give you a little time to get your tools together. While we do that, we want to do our ceremonial toast to get the carving oil, get that going tonight. I don't think we smartened up Ted about the drinking part of it. Are you drinking anything with us tonight, Ted?
I'm already smashed. I don't need to drink anything. I'm drunk on pumpkin juice. No, I'm gonna switch it here between a nice warm, because I mentioned to the guys earlier that it's a really chilly 64 degrees here in Burbank. So
yeah,
I've got some Earl Grey tea, but then I think I'm going to split some time here between Anchor Brewing Company from San Francisco. This is their Christmas.
Very nice.
Haven't opened that yet too, so I'll pop that guy.
Fantastic.
Just smells like Christmas.
Ooh.
Cheers, guys.
Bourbon and leather.
Matt, what do you got?
So keeping in that theme, not knowing Ted had a beverage that was Christmas themed, I got a Snow Day New Belgium Winter Ale.
Ah, nice.
Only because it's 81 here today, so I figured I'd go. Let's bring the cold into us, So I'll crack this bastard.
Very nice. Now, Paul, are you going to break the streak? If it was me, I would be breaking the streak.
No, it's not because I want to. It's because these guys are complete and total one-uppers.
Yes.
So what I have is a double coconut joy, 12.8% alcohol.
Oh,
it's a Merry Christmas.
Paul's not finishing this show.
It's more of a Happy New Year.
We'll be losing Paul in about a half an hour.
Yeah.
You already lost me. I had half of it.
There's only 7%. So
this is an Imperial Stout from Barreled Souls Brewing in Saco, Maine. And this comes in like a mini wine bottle.
Oh,
nice.
Right? I mean, so it's got kind of a Christmassy something.
I like it.
I don't know. It's 12.8. Look at this. Ready? Got to change your oil.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow. It's like molasses.
That's used motor oil even.
You pour that on a pancake.
Well, as I like to call it, it's hangover juice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Oh,
Even the head's gone.
Mileage right there. That's synthetic oil.
Mickey, what are you drinking?
So I have, there was a very famous incident in 1980 in baseball where George Brett
Oh, the tar?
is the pine tar incident. So my beer tonight is from Strike Brewing in San Jose, the pine tar incident.
Wow.
It is a West Coast
Wow.
IPA.
Dude, even the name of the brewery is like amazing.
Yeah, so damn cool.
Strike
Oh, you're
Brew.
drinking pine tar, and Mickey, you're
There you go. I have a Christmas tree, a pine tree. There you go. Perfect.
And it all ties in, except for mine's New Year's, so I'm ahead of you guys. I'm the holiday the week after.
Yeah,
There you go. Perfect.
You're a week ahead of us. I love it.
Well,
Toast.
gentlemen,
Yeah, let's
everyone-
cheers.
everybody
Salute.
watching, cheers.
Cheers.
Here we go. Let's turn
Happy,
the label so they
happy
start
December.
sponsoring us.
We've made it past Halloween season.
Yes.
We have?
Wow.
I
I'm
thought
a
it just
baseball
starts
fan.
all over again.
Cowboy Jack wants to know if I'm a baseball fan. Yeah, I'm a baseball fan. Buddy, I grew up with the Bill Buckner incident. I
He had to overcome a lot.
have seen some stuff.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a good time. And I also saw Sammy Sosa play during the home run race with McGuire, and I saw it at Wrigley Field. And it was towards the end of the season when they were trying to keep up with each other. So I saw a game at Wrigley.
That's
Nice.
amazing.
That was 98? 97,
Yeah,
98?
something like that. Yeah, really dating me there, Mondragon. I appreciate that.
Sorry. Sorry.
Jeez Louise.
Back when you were 7, right?
Yeah, right.
18.
I was in me mom's tummy.
That was 1898. It was the
1898.
1898.
I was around for the Spanish flu and this current pandemic.
that's right.
Well, I was going to give a shout out to someone who passed away today, the Big Ragu, Eddie Mecca.
The big
Oh, no way.
Oh,
Yeah, unfortunately, salute to Eddie Mecca, the Big Ragu.
yeah,
there you go. The
Let's
big
drink
ragu.
Big ragu. Poor bastard.
Laverne
We
and
could do
Shirley.
this all night, but
Now
one of
that
us is
dated
gonna
me.
fall off.
That dated me. Thank you.
Wow, that's
Yes.
too bad.
Well, the fact that we all knew exactly who that was.
Pretty good
We're all
point.
dating.
Oh,
Yeah. Eddie Mecca.
I was joking with someone earlier today because they knew exactly who I was talking about as well. And there was a scene where the Fonz and Richie and all those guys were meeting up with a rival gang in some basketball gymnasium, and the Big Ragu comes out of the stands and he goes, "You'll never go from rags to riches." And I'm just like, wait, that doesn't scare off gangs, Tony Bennett.
Not nowadays.
No,
okay.
get
Now,
out of here.
do I have to ask a stupid question? Now, was that character from Laverne and Shirley or from Happy Days?
he was
Good point.
Shirley's boyfriend.
Right. Okay.
But he
So
carried
Laverne and
over in the
Shirley.
crossover.
But
'cause
they
he-
would cross
Did he?
over. They would cross
Oh.
over all the
Carmine.
time. Yeah.
Because
But-
they're both.
What
Best
was
place in
his
that
full
water.
name? What was his full name, Paul?
Carmine Ragucci?
Raguso.
Ragusa.
Raguso.
Raguso.
Nicely done. That's very
Hey, guys,
close.
Stop dating us. Jesus.
That's why he's a big ragu.
Mickey, you're gonna have to pull out some vaudeville stuff next, so we can.
Right. Ask me who the original Three Stooges were or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, before the talkies came out. Oh
Yes,
God, that was-
exactly.
Talkies.
No one even knows what vaudeville is, so I'm not even going to start.
Don't start.
I will.
I'll bet you there's four old farts on a screen right now that know
They're
what
loving
vaudeville are.
They're loving it. They're loving it.
Oh, here we go.
Here
This is
we
what I was
go.
talking about.
That looks
So-
familiar.
Wow.
Okay, so now just to give everybody some a kind of a glimpse back in history on the when Ted joined us the last time, we did a fun spin of the wheel. I think it was early in the wheel spinning time at some point. So, and Ted graciously joined us in doing a carving. Now, Ted's medium is foam, and you'll see through some of the pictures, you're like, oh dear God, how is that foam? But so he did the spin of the wheel. Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, was a mutating ogre, right?
Wrong.
Mutating
goblin.
Goblin. Thank you. See, I remember stuff. So mutating goblin, and this was I won't belabor it, but this was one, and I got to see this in person, and oh my God, this is the only permanent, semi-permanent. I guess the world, the sun could explode and we'd all be dead, but permanent as far as like gourds are concerned, thing I've ever seen. It's beautiful. So Ted, talk to us.
Wow, look at that picture. That picture.
Yeah, I mean, I cheated last time I was on your show because I didn't have a pumpkin or a gourd or a potato or any kind of thing to carve, and I thought, well, I'll be a smarty pants and grab a chunk of foam. And so I started out with the block of foam on the show, and I'm going to set my pumpkin aside here for a second, and proceeded to carve that with my tools of the trade, which is essentially like razor blades and X-Acto blades, and some of the stuff was cut on a bandsaw. Sometimes they cut it out that way. So I just started with a giant block of upholstery foam, and I don't know, I can't remember how far I got on the show, but
I think you actually got as far as pulling out your razor knife.
Probably. I think I pulled out the chunk of foam like halfway through the show, and oh, by the way, I thought I'd carve something too, and I might have gotten like the general shape of a pumpkin down. But then since my wife and I have been extremely busy with jobs here this last year, I was able to kind of pull this onto my bench at the end of the night each night, and maybe do like an hour and a half every now and again, and detail every now and again. So it was just really a couple hours a week that I was putting into it. So little by little, he started to come into shape. But again, it was just the overall shape. Carved out of a block of foam, and then all the individual ridges of the pumpkin again were another piece of upholstery foam. I usually take like these blades I use, where are they? Here we are, Persona blades that are like hair shaper blades. They use for they put those into a special tool, and then they can cut hair with them. But what I do then is I can bend the blade, and then when I take the cardboard off, you can run that through like a 1-inch piece of upholstery foam or whatever, and I get these rounded shapes on here. And I've got the whole process. I was photographing, and I put it on Instagram. So if you go to my Instagram page, anybody can see the process that I use to build him. But some just styrofoam. I think styrofoam balls I used for the eyes, and everything else is sculpted. This is EVA foam. The teeth are all it's called L200, so it's a closed cell. A lot of the people use it for cosplay. So it's a dense closed cell foam, and so I sculpted all of those. Fine tuned them with a Dremel, and then I always hit them with a torch. I don't have it on my desk right now. Oh yeah, I do. So I'll just take sculpt out the L200, sculpt it with a Dremel, and just hit it with a torch just to smooth it all off. But and then it's finally coated with latex rubber.
Wow. So, can I ask a dumb question sorry, go ahead, Paul.
No, what was it?
Closed cell, open cell. So if I think of open cell, is that like what a memory foam is made out of? Like that type of
basically like upholstery foam. So you can find that at Michael's or Joanne Fabrics or in the cushions of your sofa. It's the same. It's blue, it's green. The stuff I get from a place here where they'll cut it any thickness. I can get it anywhere from 4 feet thick to a quarter of an inch. So, I've got all different thicknesses, and up in my foam storage here, and I've got a giant block in storage in the house. And so I'll just get a big block and start chopping away. That's like this. We were looking at this earlier too, is this, the zombie head. And I might've showed this last time I was on the show with you guys.
I love that guy.
So that's upholstery foam, and you can, if I get it close enough, you can see that's open cell foam, so you can actually see the spongy texture.
Sure.
Whereas a closed cell foam, think of it as the foam, I guess, that you could see like on the soles of your sneakers, where it's very dense and you can't see the cell structure. So that's a closed cell foam.
What do you prefer?
Either or. I mean, I use both, you know, like for this pumpkin, you know, I was using both the upholstery foam and the closed cell. The closed cell I always use if I'm going to do anything robotic or kind of machined, you know, so I can use it for the teeth because it can get a really nice smooth finish. But then the upholstery foam is just so you can do anything with it. You chop into it and carve into it and Dremel it. And, you know, and then I use different thicknesses of it, like for the brow and the folds. And then, like I said, the ridges. And so you just use different 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch thicknesses or whatever like that. So it's really versatile. Whereas the closed cell I just use for robotic-y type, more machined looking pieces. You know, if I'm going to build like a big gun or a prop or something like that, I use L200 or the closed cell. L200 is just a name that they've got at the upholstery place I get my foam from. Okay. So it changes from area to area within the United States. If you find a closed cell foam upholstery place that will sell that, it's all going to be different names. So
you literally have the coolest job in the world.
Yes, you do.
It's a fun job, and I mean, we've been. My wife is just off camera here by about 12 feet, and we're both. You know, we've got our own shop in our house, and we've been working on a huge project this last year, and it's sort of getting to a close. We're building 11 costumes, characters for walkarounds for video game conventions.
Nice.
So we're working on a number of costumes, and again, those are all ranging from very robotic-y and machined-looking things to very organic and lots of techniques. And as soon as we can actually post and talk about it, I'll throw stuff on the Instagram. Yeah. And but my wife is a expert seamstress, tailor, costume builder. Not a tailor. I guess a guy's a tailor. You're a seamstress? No. Okay, tailoring is men's clothes.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, what she's doing isn't even. It's just custom costume building. So she's done sculpting and mold making, and it's crazy what she's been doing. It's just she's super talented.
Yeah.
So
can I brag for a second, Ted? I got the chance to go out and visit Ted. I took my daughter for a trip to go out and see Cal Arts. I don't know, a few weeks ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and got a chance to hang out with Ted and Alana and have some dinner and hang out. And man, it was. I wish I could have recorded it, but the stuff he does and the stuff he's making. Oh yeah, there's a picture of me taking pictures. Yeah, these are awesome. And the stuff that they make, and I know there's a lot of things you can't divulge because of your customers and everything else, but it's mind-boggling. And you're right in Burbank, like in the thick of things. But Ted was putting it very mildly when it comes to what an amazing artist she is. Because I got a chance to take a look at the organic things that I can't speak of, but he will post eventually. And I was just like completely. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not made out of thatch. That's not. Nope, it was sculpted anyway. So you guys will be blown away too. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you guys again for opening the doors and letting us check out your amazing stuff. So.
And Mickey and I wanted to thank you for the invite.
Yeah, you're next.
You're always invited. And Mickey, you're out here too, so just drop by any time.
I would love that. I was actually in Arizona that weekend. I wasn't even aware that they were going to come out.
I was thinking it was like to Matt. I was like, well, where's Michael? I said we should get him here. He's like, no, you guys crossed in the air or something like that.
Yeah, I think we high-fived in midair at some point. Yeah, that's about it.
Exactly.
There was a question. How much does a foam cost? What is the cost of the foam?
Upholstery foam itself is really inexpensive. The shipping would probably kill you on most anything because it's so depending on the big, actually it doesn't weigh much. It's just, it's usually a volume of foam. When I start carving something like this, it's like a 15-inch by 15-inch block of foam. Yeah. And you have to buy it in a full sheet. So when I buy something thick enough to sculpt, I'm usually buying it as a 12-inch thick sheet, 4 foot by 8 foot. But even still, like when I buy that by the inch, it's about $24 per inch. So if it's a 2-inch piece, it's $50. If it's, but then that's 4 foot by 8 foot. So that's a huge volume of foam.
Right.
And I think even, you know, at Michael's or Joann Fabrics, you know, you're going to pay a little bit more than you would in an upholstery store. But most even small towns have got upholstery stores that you can go in. And I used to go in my small little town. I grew up in Wisconsin, and you know, I'd go bug them for scraps, and they'd give them to me.
I was going to ask, does foam have a shelf life? I know that, like, for instance, it'll dry out, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. No, and the upholstery foam especially, it'll rot, because if you sunlight, heat, you know, things like that. But now this has been sealed with latex and foam. It's all got a shelf life, but I expect this to last, you know, easily 15, 20 years.
Wow.
You know, and even then I can still patch it and fix it up. And so if it started to get some cracks and dry out or anything like that, I could still fix it. You know, you can just put more latex on it and seal it even better. And so
you think of the headrests in your grandma's old 67 Dodge Dart, you know, those things start to get crispy if you're not
if you were the same thing. If you were to reapply, would that help? Like if you would every couple of years, if you were to coat it again?
You could, but I mean, that's the thing. It's like when I'm sealing the foam, first I seal it with spray glue and then latex over the top of that. And then like all the little fine wrinkles and things like that, I use tissue paper and latex. So I'll take like a Kleenex and I'll pull the two plies apart and I'll rip those and just kind of use little bits of that at a time. It's the same way I built my Yoda. That, you know, this is all solid upholstery foam with the you know, tissue and cotton and build up. But that's the thing. The more latex you would build up on it, you're going to start to obliterate the detail.
Right.
Wow.
So, I mean, I might be able to seal it with, you know, like a spray sealer, something clear. But yeah, I've never. There's a lot of pieces, like when I used to build a lot more for film. That stuff is basically made for the show that you're building for. So when it comes back after set and it's ripped and it's cracked and it's this and that, we put it in a plastic bag and hang it in storage and it's done.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not used to like building something that's going to be around forever. I mean, typically it's like guys who do these for displays, you know, like Mike Hill is a guy that's pretty renowned for his sculptures he does and shows at Monsterpalooza and things like that. And those are all done out of silicone. You know, if we do a nice display piece for at the shop, it's done out of silicone and painted. And, you know, a lot of those silicones just last forever.
Yeah. So is speaking of Monsterpalooza, is that coming back? Because I know they're talking about.
I believe so.
Back in, it's always in California, right? It's always at the.
Yeah, always in California, and they do Monsterpalooza and Son of Palooza.
Son of Monster.
And Son of Palooza is at the Burbank Convention Center by the Burbank Airport, and then Monsterpalooza is a much bigger venue in Pasadena.
Okay.
And also the mini Son of Monsterpalooza, as I'm showing here.
Yes, the mini Son of Monsterpalooza. No, that was really the Elliot Brodsky who runs. You know, that's Monsterpalooza is his thing. And during COVID, you know, everybody was missing Monsterpalooza because everything was shut down. So I asked Elliot. I said, "Would you mind if I had a mini Son of Monsterpalooza in my shop?" And I invited folks to come by, and you know, we had our 6 to 8 foot distance between guests, and you know, it was very few people. It was in my shop. We had the roll up doors were open, and I created a Monsterpalooza booth in our shop. And
that's awesome.
At first, it was going to be like, maybe I'll just carve something, you know, out of foam. I'll just sculpt something, and you know, it's like, then maybe I'll have somebody come by, like a guest or something. And and then it ended up being, I didn't sculpt anything, and I think I had like 26 guests over 3 days. So,
so you weren't the only one missing it.
Yeah. Right. That's amazing. No, it's just. So I definitely didn't miss Monsterpalooza that year, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of people I hadn't seen for a while. I think Steve Johnson was there, and Constantine Sakaris, who I'd worked with at XFX or Edge Effects, and Tom Woodruff from ADI came by, and comedian actor Dana Gould came by, and and then a lot of good friends of mine from over the years too. Mark Tavares and just so many other artists that just came by and said hi and talked for like 40 minutes, and we would shuffle out, and so it's just like being at Monsterpalooza. Somebody would stop by, say hi, we talk, and then they move on.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Hey, Ted, how do you think this show would go over at Monsterpalooza if we did it live?
I think it'd be great. Yeah, do a booth. I don't see why you wouldn't. Set up a booth and have pumpkin carving, and you could even have folks come by and
just have people as they're passing by come through.
Yeah. Come through.
I mean, you guys doing what you do and carving pumpkins, I don't see how that wouldn't go over. So.
All right, so that just cemented it. Thanks.
All right, talk to you, buddy. Talk to you, buddy.
Now we're in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I don't know if I can't remember when it is. I know I just got an email from Elliot saying, hey, we're doing Monsterpalooza this year, and they were supposed to have Sonapalooza this last September, and then of course things changed in LA, and it had to be canceled again. So he's hoping to do it. I think it's in May or June. I can't remember when it is. When it usually, I think it's April actually.
Is it?
So
really that early, huh? Wow, that's coming up fast.
Yeah, I think it's actually in April.
So Paul, we gotta bring a bunch of really big butternut squash for that one.
Yeah, and what else we got to do is we got to make a cardboard set to set up outside of Monsterpalooza, because there's no way we're getting a booth.
Exactly.
Absolutely no way.
I don't see why not. Get a nice. Well, you might have to get 2 booths. You have enough room for some big gourds. And if you can't find any gourds, I'll get you some big 24-inch square pieces of foam, and you guys can just sculpt foam pumpkins.
There we go.
Don't tease me with such amazing. Oh my God, I got tingles.
I'll come by your booth and sculpt a foam pumpkin.
Oh, I love it.
It would be dreamy. Yeah, I've been seeing stuff online. A friend of ours, Joey Edwards, who's an amazing pumpkin etcher. Like he does complete amazing hyper realistic works of art on pumpkins. He has a booth at Monsterpalooza, and he's very excited. So congratulations, Joey.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. Speaking for myself, Monsterpalooza is something that I didn't realize was a real thing at first because of social media. Things like Instagram, I would see Monsterpalooza and see all these famous and amazing artists at this one place, and I'm like, what the hell is this? What is this thing? And then you look it up, and it's like, oh my God, that's an actual thing in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
and I can't walk there, so it's out of my range.
Well, you can fly it.
Start now. You can make it by April.
We could have Boston Palooza.
Exactly.
Boston Monsterpalooza. Yeah, there'd be like 12 guys, literally.
Got to start somewhere.
Finding this little pumpkin I got, I think has a pretty thin skin.
Stop teasing it.
So it's gonna be a little bit of a
superficial.
It might end up like a relief, a little bit more of a relief sculpture. So
well, what if you did this? What if you did this? What if you got out the glue gun and you started gluing foam and tissue paper onto it?
Let me see what I can do here.
Yeah, there we go. Always got it. It might be the
studio's on fire.
Yeah. You know what? You cut the back off and glue that to the front, and now you have a double the distance.
There you go. Yeah. Get some toothpicks out, stick them together.
That's it.
Exactly.
Glue it on. When in doubt, glue it out.
Hey, speaking of name dropping, because I heard you throwing some names around there. You just had a birthday, Ted.
Hey,
and I saw on your I'm dropping your name because you had a birthday, but I saw on your Instagram feed you got a very special birthday gift from a Mr. Rick Baker, if I remember right.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my teacup from my mom.
That's that's what he meant to say, Ted. Way to go.
Yeah,
okay, even better.
No, my good friend Peter, who's an acquaintance friend of Rick Baker's, and he came over the one day and he goes, oh, by the way, I know you're going to be gone for your birthday. I thought I'd drop this off for you. And of course I had Rick's book as soon as it came out, and I looked at Peter, I opened up and said, oh my God, this is amazing. I said, thank you. And I said, I've got this book. And he goes, no, I know. He goes, open it up. I was like, oh no, really?
Oh.
It's
no.
open a nice big autograph in there from Rick, and it was super sweet. It was really nice.
That's dynamite.
Yeah, he complimented me on my Frankenstein sculpture that I had done a while back. So,
oh yeah,
my big foam fab Frankie. So, and I can't get away from Frankenstein. So then today we're doing another.
I know. Damn it.
Again, I want to reiterate. It said Frank.
Oh.
It did say Frank, and I immediately go to Frankenstein because I can't.
Well, if you can do Frankenstein like that, why would you go away from it? That is dynamite. Now, do you still own that, or did you sell that?
Nope, I've still got it. I've had a couple of people that are interested, and then for whatever reason, they're always shocked when I tell them the price I want for it. And
I don't think $6.8 million is a lot of money for that.
It's a very unusual number, but very fair.
For the amount of time you put into that thing, it's totally legit.
Dynamite.
No, I spent a lot of time on it, and I had a lot of fun. I mean, part of me doesn't want to let it go, but I did create patterns for it so I could always replicate it. And it'd be interesting to see how I would redo it, because it wouldn't be exactly the same. The color's not going to be the same, and it originally started off
shadow. I mean,
isn't that the beauty of it though? Like it's a one of a kind piece. You can never do it.
It is a one of a kind.
Twice.
No, exactly. I mean, I've got the patterns, but then I would make sure I didn't do it the same. The nose would be different, and all of that. And there's things I look at now and just kind of, I wish I would have changed, done it this way or that way. My wife sometimes might wish that I did it a little bit smaller than it's the size that it is, because I think it's about 32 to 36 inches tall.
I don't think it's big enough. I got to be honest.
Yeah. And then I teased with her. I said, well, the thing I really wanted to do was to make a body that goes with it. And she was just kind of like, but then after Rick signed my book and complimented me on it, and it's kind of like, well,
maybe you're on
to see more.
Yeah. Rick seemed to like the size of the Frankenstein I did. So actually now it's okay. It's Rick Baker approved. So
stamp of approval.
Exactly.
By the way, seeing this thing in person is insane, because it looks really cool here, but when you see the 5 o'clock shadow and the hair and it's pretty awesome.
It's fun. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But it was really fun to build, and I've got ideas for other ones I want to do, and probably not as big, because even I understand that we only have so much wall space, and
wall space.
I've got that, and the Metaluna Mutant that I did are on the wall in our den.
Dynamite.
And then usually Yoda's in there, and the pumpkin's been hiding under a table in there now. So,
and plus all the pieces you've got that are getting ready to ship, and that you're making. And
we've got a lot of our shop has overflowed into our house, and these characters that we're doing for PlayStation are not small, and so we've got some in the den, some in the office, and we've got trunks are being built as we speak, and just kind of can't wait for it to all go away so we can have our house back.
It's an embarrassment of riches, is what it really is. I mean, honestly, this is the coolest. If 16-year-old me would be jumping out of my seat listening to you talk right now, I can be this when I grow up. I can do this when I grow up.
That was 16-year-old me as well. It's just I often think about, now that in our shop here with some of the other projects we're doing, I've got sitting just behind camera here are 3D printers. I've got another one on the way in February. So we're 3D printing like crazy, and just the equipment we've got now. I've got my flocking gun and new bandsaw and all this stuff, and So yeah, 16-year-old me would just be freaking out. So
Wow.
I mean, hey, 39-year-old me is freaking out.
I was just say 28-year-old me is 3D.
Yeah, now these pieces.
I'm 3D printing right now myself. With
I can't remember the artist's name that did these, and these were just a fun thing for me to do at Halloween.
Oh, they're awesome.
That I printed off of my Epex printer, and it's the guy's name, the artist is Sergio, but these are from Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
Haunted
Mansion?
The
Haunted Mansion stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the Haunted Mansion.
Miss Terry
Sergio.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm sorry, I can't read the name because he printed his name on the bottom of the piece here, but I've got all of these back here. And he did these great pieces. So, it's just some of the fun we were having with the 3D printing. And so I bought the files for that and downloaded them, and
they're so cool.
Having fun with that.
So you bought the models for this?
Those I bought those models. So that's not my work. We just printed those off of the printers.
But
that was somebody else's work.
You can do that. Like
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. So that's definitely not my work. But the guy that does them, I've bought a few models of his off his page on CG Trader.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and the detail's fantastic. So I can't wait to paint them up. I was hoping to have something done for. Yeah, they're not crazy. I mean, that's the thing with 3D printing. You can print them out any size you want.
Any size you want, yeah.
Well, if you got the filament,
yeah, but I don't think you use filament though. Do you, Ted?
Wow.
What do you
no,
use?
this is a resin. This is a resin printer.
So how does that work?
So this is still in like kit form, so it's coming apart. I haven't put it together yet. But I could, if I wanted to, I could print it out full size.
But it'll print it in pieces, and then you remove the piece.
Right? Yeah, he had this done up as a model kit. So, the pith helmet comes off and the head. So they're all printed in separate pieces, and then it goes together like a model kit.
Oh, neat! Wow.
I mean, I've got ZBrush on my computer, and I'm just starting to learn how to use it and what to do with it. So,
wow.
So Paul, you've seen the 3D prints that have kind of almost like lattice work or ladders, like connecting everything. That's what this one does. Yeah, that's because it's when it's resin printed, it's just at the bottom, right?
Right. So you've got like a small little pool of resin that it pulls it up out, and so it's printing a layer at a time, and it's a UV light that cures a small micro layer, and so it goes down, touches the bed, prints that one layer, raises up, goes back down, and so something like that would have maybe 2,000 layers or 4,000 layers, whatever, depends on how big it is. There's a project I'm working on right now, and I can't tell you who it's for, what it's for, or anything like that, but it is for a feature project. And we're doing, we're 3D printing molds that we're going to be casting silicone heads in. And so this is one of the molds. And so I've got the name covered up and everything on here, but.
All
right, if I guess, will you nod yes? Is it Atme Harper A?
It is me. I'll spill the beans, Paul. It's me.
Looks like a little half-scale Harper. I'm just saying.
It does. He's got the same hair.
So
same broad shoulders, Matt. Same broad shoulders.
No, it's Ernest Borgnine, I'm pretty sure.
So we're printing these out. So we've got, the 2-part mold, and those are designed in ZBrush, and then the core that connects to a plate.
Oh my god!
And then when these are all put together, there's a hole in the back that we pour silicone through, and then we end up with a scaled head.
Oh, so that goes inside. Okay, so the core goes inside, and the silicone goes around the core. Okay.
Right. So you've got. Let me see if I can pull that. So you've got the core inside.
Oh my gosh!
Oh wow!
That's what we all look like inside, everyone.
That's how you keep the place for the eyes and everything.
Yeah. So there's a pinholes in there for the eyes, and then those kind of keep the eyes in place when you cast the silicone. So when you get this all locked together and then bolted together, and you pour your silicone, it goes in and around the eyes, and that keeps it in place. I've got pumpkin shavings on my mold now.
Sorry.
But yeah, so we've
that's
been
what we got to
printing. This
invest
is
in next.
the 6th or 7th mold that we've printed.
So now the eyeballs are obviously a standard size for what you're doing,
Those
so that you can just pop them in after, right?
Right, and that's just
this
a
is
printed out
honestly,
resin. I
for
have some on my
me,
desk here.
this is a huge thing for me, because this is what always, as the pessimist in me is always like, I'd love to cast something, but how the F do they make the eyeballs pop back in after? See?
So those are the eyeballs.
How does that happen?
The half scale eyeball. So that goes into the mold. Silicone gets cast around that, and then I can actually pull this out. So there's an empty socket, and we'll put like nice finished eyeballs in the head.
Paul? That's how it works.
Dude, I got to quit my job tomorrow.
So easy, just like that.
I told you, Paul. I told you that was a way to do it.
Just quit.
I didn't know it was that easy. It looks
so easy. We've been the artist I've been working with. Artist I've been working with, because we went in. My friend Peter, who got me the Rick Baker Metamorphosis book. Yeah. He's doing all the scanning. So we go and scan actors, and then those get put into ZBrush. And another artist I'm working with, James Springham, who I worked with for years at Legacy Effects, he's been doing all the ZBrush modeling and creating the molds. So it's been a back and forth with James and I about where do we split the mold, how do we do this, and where's the porthole going to be, and how are we going to do the core and attach the core, and so it's been definitely a trial of sometimes some errors, but we've got it figured out pretty well. I can't show you a casting. I've got some just below the table here and some ready to go out. And but the castings are coming out really good after a little trial and error and a little bit of swearing, or a lot of swearing. My wife's over there nodding. There was a lot of swearing one evening. Maybe a little bit of kicking and throwing, but I eventually settled down. So, but it's a tough process. I mean, especially when it's deadlines. It's not
right.
It's not just I'm doing this for the fun of it. It's I'm doing this for somebody and I'm getting paid, and it has to work. So when it doesn't work out, it costs money, and then it costs the money that I bid. So I don't like messing up.
Boy. I mean, geez, anybody watching, especially if there's any younger guys watching, if I had heard this when I was 11, 12, 13, when I first started realizing that I had some artistic ability, if there was somebody around like Ted to literally show me that this could be a thing, by God, I'd still be exactly where I am right now, because I would say he's 100%.
That was right there was
Ted's
a master class.
That's what I would say. Ted's a unicorn. He's the only
right
one that
there. What Ted showed was a master class in how to do this.
Seriously,
and we're going to be doing
aside, to be able to pull the curtains back just to show that is 28 years of wondering how that you did those silicone molds and we're able to keep the eye sockets.
And it's the thing is too is explaining mold making to people, and that's the thing. I make molds. I know how to make molds. I've been making molds for a long time. I figured it out when I was a kid and looked at so many books and behind the scenes and just are they doing it this way or that way? And then when I moved to LA, then you've got people who really know what they're doing, showing you, that you've been doing it wrong or you've been doing it halfway right or whatever. And then you start to really figure out how to do this stuff the right way. So I understand mold making, obviously fabrication and foam fabrication is my forte, but luckily I understand all of this stuff. And I was smart enough to be looking off of my table onto other people's tables. And it was like, how are they doing that? What tools are they using? And, things like that, and go and ask some questions. And, and I like the fact now too, when I'm on Instagram or Facebook and I do field questions. Every now and again, I get a question from somebody wherever in the world, and they're always shocked that I answer.
And I got to tell you,
oh my God, I've reached out to so many people, and you're the first one that answered. So,
and from a perspective as a fan of yours and a lot of other artists, I got to say, when I get a response to an honest question, coming from a place of learning, to get the response from the person that you admire and you ask the question to, it really helps their confidence. It makes them feel like this isn't an elitist group of snobby ass people that went to these private schools to learn how to do this. It's just people that really love art and are open to sharing their craft. It means a lot.
And I think artists too, it's like you guys get questions, I'm sure, all the time, is like, how are you doing this? What tools are you using? Yep. And it's great to be acknowledged, especially for an artist, which is a very, you look at where I'm at, this is where I sit every day, and I've got molds and it's messy and this and that. And it's very kind of a lonely job. And you don't know if people are, it goes to set and people don't care who built it or whatever. So when you actually get some recognition, somebody says they like your work, and I've been trying to do that too more on Instagram, because there's people I follow that I say, hey, I love your work. And, we were talking earlier, and you guys, I think, introduced me to him because I was watching your show, was Thomas, and I apologize if I butcher Fluharty, if I butcher his last name. And my wife and I just got today in the mail an original piece of his. Awesome. That we decided, it's like we were looking and it's just like, we've got to get one. Just got that in the mail today, but then reaching out to people like that and saying, hey, I love your artwork. Even if you're not going to buy something of theirs, that's great for an artist to know that somebody appreciates and likes your work instead of just a like. It's really nice to have a comment, have somebody actually say, hey, I enjoy your work.
That's such a good point. Getting a comment after you post something is almost better than 20 likes, because it's like you don't even want to hear you don't want to hear them attaboy you and pat you on the back, but just like, oh, I love the eyes, or something about like what you're working on. They kind of just I put a lot of time in it, and I care about it, and anyway, so it is gratifying, just even if it is superficial.
No, it's not even superficial though. Like it goes back to just the basics of kindness, right? Like hold a door. If someone holds a door, say thank you. Somebody does something nice, say please. If you appreciate something, let them know you appreciate it. Yeah. Even if it's a little thumbs up emoji, you know what I mean? Like that's cool. That means a lot.
If you really appreciate it, I mean, this guy Jeff Braun, who I bought some of his postcards. Jeff Braun is his name, and I love his stuff.
Wait,
so it's like I got that.
Was that Brother Theodore?
That was Brother Theodore.
Hell yes!
Don Knotts and Brother Theodore. I love Jeff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes. But and I mean, so like him and other books I've been collecting. It's funny we got on the subject of appreciating art, but I picked up this from Frederick Cooper.
Wow.
And I think I've been, and I'm going to try to post more of just stuff I've been getting, and so this book was so cool. And then I had seen
that book, actually.
Somebody had recommended this online, Abigail Larson, and it's just beautiful book, and her work is just fantastic.
Whoa, black pages, that makes it like pop out so much.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And just that work of hers.
Wow. Oh my God.
So I see something, and it's again, don't just give them a like. It's like, if you can afford to buy a book or get some stickers, or get some neat patches. This is from AJ Nazaro. I liked his work, and he does these really cool patches.
Every time I see that,
Mickey, you better rewrite these down. We need
right. Every time I see that, patch,
these cool. Isn't that cool? Oh yeah, this one, yeah.
The Tuscan
Dynamite. Yeah. Well, you know what? Awesome. That being said, appreciate an artist, Jason Hammond. Get back to me. I'm trying to get my sculpt off of you. He's so busy. The kid's blowing up. I want it before he studio steals him. I got to get it.
Yeah.
There is also one more thing that I wanted to bring to light that I hope you guys resonate with this, that your work also lives outside of your studio.
Right.
And that people see it and they appreciate it. I think that is the huge gratification of this, that you go, you're doing this because, your heart, I mean, Ted, you just showed the Tuscan Raider and the Stormtroopers, like everything we're passionate about, right? And Brother Theodore, it's like, no, who would, like I said, I went crazy for the Brother Theodore. But I love like Ralph Furley and you know, all that stuff too. But those are the things I would artistically make all these things I'm super passionate about. But then to have people see it and also be just as passionate about it, that's also very gratifying.
Well, you've got to go look at Jeff Braun's work, because and he pokes fun at himself, just going, here's another huge moneymaker I've just done, you know, and it'll be Mr. Furley, or, you know, just Brother Theodore. And there's such a niche of people that know who that is.
Yeah.
But he's hitting that he's got a great the Ghost and Mr. Chicken Ouija board, and it's just like, I think I need the Ouija board.
I love discovering things you didn't know you needed, but then
exactly.
all of a sudden, damn it, now I gotta buy it. Damn it. Okay.
Yep. I actually we had him on, Jody and Mike Moss.
Yes.
Mike made a I believe it was a Morrissey Ouija board. So combining these two, like, you know, music and you know, a Ouija board, like, you know, it's such a 60s 70s thing.
Right.
All that just combine. And also that's the thing, it's combining these two worlds of things as well, you know, TV, pop culture, movies.
Right.
And I think that's the real fun of this.
Yeah.
I just love creeping my kids out, to be honest. I love finding the most talented artists that I look at stuff and I get creeped out, or I'm like amazed by. And if I, like Ted said, if you have the means to support that artist and you get it, it's so much fun to creep your kids out. Like, I got a couple of things and my kids are like, are you really going to leave that here? That is like terrifying. That is exactly why I'm leaving it. Oh, this is going to haunt your dreams, kiddo.
And if it's just, you know, if it's just helping out an artist and, you know, getting some $3 stickers from them.
Oh, hello, Boo Bear. No, that wasn't Boo Bear. That's Frankenberry. Hello, Vincent.
Little Vincent Price and a little.
Now, where exactly can we get these, Mr. Haynes? Where can we get these?
The fellow on Instagram, Foam Fabber.
Oh, little Foam Fabber.
I've heard of it. Yeah, he's good.
I think I'll
follow
be
the link
in an order.
Go to his Etsy page, and, you know, a few bucks here and there.
Well, you know, I do be loving stickers, Mr. Haynes. So
yeah.
Well, some people just need to throw me their address and then they get a sticker.
Oh, well, so if somebody else throws their address, then somebody gets stickers back, and then we play sticker tag, and then it's like a game.
Yeah, big sticker party.
Or you know, or if they come out to LA for a visit, then they get stickers thrown at them too.
That's true. I think
the next day, I think Matt was leaving with his daughter, and I was going to give him some stickers and some stuff the night before, and I said, "What time do you leave?" And he told me, and I said, "Just do a drive by the house, and I'm going to throw an envelope of stickers in the car." That's pretty much what they did.
Don't slow down. Don't slow down.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. See, that's why Mickey is the Mondragon master.
Look at him.
Don't go now. We still have a half hour of a show, but after our show.
They're not even on sale till after the show.
That's right. There you go. Yeah, but definitely support. I think that's the biggest thing that.
Oh, man.
Well, one of the greatest things that we've learned from the show. Yeah, we've learned from like just making friends in the show, but also, you know, support, you know, artists, you know, all you need is just like a little bit, you know, it's like, hey, you know, we appreciate your work. That's all you need. It's like,
well, like people used to say, show you love, right? If you like something, show you love. Like, you support your baseball teams, you support your football teams. If you're not into sports, you're into something, you should support your video game, whatever it is. Like, you'll buy the t-shirt. And it's not about buying things. It's literally about showing your support, whether it's through a sticker or a t-shirt, you know, or you guys watching every week. Like, that's the coolest thing in the world is, to me, is people saying, "Oh, I watched the show. It was hilarious. So, you know, I learned something by what you guys were talking about. It was fascinating."
100%.
But, you know, I mean, more importantly, buy Ted's stuff. I mean, you know, for this show, more importantly.
I'm constantly the shameless businessman. It's like, and if you want to drop a few bucks, but
you got some cool stuff you can have. Yeah,
I get a kick out of it every time. I see my Etsy thing goes ding, or whatever. It's like, I sold a $3 sticker. That's cool. Somebody liked it enough.
And somebody's now, and hopefully it's very far away from you, so that your branding, your art is living somewhere else in the world, right?
No, and that's what I get a kick out of when I see, New York or Florida or Indiana or Wyoming, and every now and again it's like Chatsworth, and it's like, oh, I could have taken that over to that guy's house.
Right.
That's my neighbor. Jesus.
Yeah, well, it's funny. There's another book here that I've got. It's Dave Coleman, David's Doodles, and he's on Instagram as well. I love his art.
Wow, David. What is it, Dave Coleman?
We were David Coleman, and I first found a T-shirt of his that I wear all the time, but it just it does like these great caricature type but of animals.
I love it.
Oh.
And just try to. Wow. But yeah, just great work, and I really appreciate his art. And my wife Ilona got me this book. Was it my birthday last year? Maybe Father's Day. There you go. And it's funny. This last Halloween, we're out driving around. We see a couple of cool houses. Oh, that's a neat house. That's a neat house, and it's maybe a mile away from our house. And then I'm going through my Instagram later that day, or whatever, and I was like, "That's David. That's David Coleman. Dave's Doodles." Is like. That was his house. So I sent him I said, dude, I've got your book. I wear your shirt, and you're like right down the street from me. That's hilarious. So
that's a very LA thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a very LA thing, because like when you go, hey, that looks like George Clooney at Starbucks. It probably is George Clooney.
No, no, definitely not. He has the Nescafe machine. He would never be caught dead.
That's right.
Oh,
that's right.
Excuse me.
Get your S together, Mondragon.
my reference is 20 years old, I guess.
Let's use something more modern, Mickey. Come on.
Yeah.
But speaking of supporting artists, right? So I grew up in an era when there was a certain toy that I coveted as a child that sadly we could not have because the big model was very expensive as a kid, called a Boglin. Does anybody remember a Boglin?
No.
It was a latex hand puppet, and the eyes moved. And I was obsessed with Muppets, like obsessed with the fact that their eyes could move and they could blink. So this was the one puppet that you could buy in retail that you could move the eyes and blink them.
Oh, and that's how much did this cost back then?
Back then, $14 zillion as far as I was concerned. So in totally understandable, very expensive product. So every year I take my kids to this Northeast Comic-Con, and it's in a hotel that has an indoor pool. So we make a night of it, right? So they get the pool. Yeah, there's Boglins. And this by a fellow named Tim Clark. And so as a kid, these were like super important to my artistic development. Like I was obsessed with this. I would Play-Doh would get sculpted into Boglins. Anything I could get sculpted into Boglins.
It's a pumpkin one.
There is they just relaunched them. So when I went to this Comic-Con this year, Tim Clark, the toy maker, happened to be there launching the new, he's reintroducing Boglins. And you would have thought I was the kid. I had a pocket full of money and I was just like, take it. I want a Boglin. So I got the pumpkin one, and obviously I had to get, my son got a pumpkin one, and then my other son got the skeleton one. But they blink and their eyes move. And isn't it sad that like the child and like that's all it takes? You got a puppet and his eyes move. Oh Christ!
Oh, I'm in.
Money.
That's all you need.
It's just eye movement. Yeah, I still have.
I
shouldn't say I still have.
I remember as a kid that there was
puppet. They released an animal puppet in the early '80s, and you could blink.
I was just gonna say. Yeah. And I was just beyond that age where it was like hard for me to ask for that stuff for birthdays and Christmas. I think I'd get a little bit too much crap from my folks or from my siblings. It's
like either
you want a puppet, aren't you like
or a Muppet that
or a Muppet, And it's like,
So do you remember all right, Mickey? Yeah. Here we go. Movie trivia. Remember the Blues Brothers?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the mall scene?
Yeah.
Of course.
When they plow through the store, what do they plow through? A whole thing of the animal Muppet in the box.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a Toys
I
R
gotta
Us.
rewatch
That's where they first went through.
I've never liked Dan Aykroyd since for doing that.
Baby clothes.
Because the guy standing there, he goes, "Do you have a Miss Piggy?"
Yes, that's right. But seeing Blues Brothers for the first time, I was like, no, I love that.
I remember when they were driving through the mall and they're like, disco pants and haircuts. This mall's got everything.
So baby clothes. Yeah.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
Great movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Matt, do you know that we went to grade school with someone who was in Blues Brothers?
Yes, we did. There was a kid, one of the kids from the orphanage, a guy named Bubba Tunde Myers.
That's right.
And he was
Bubba,
one of the kids.
Bubba Myers.
You remember when they put the they like put the giant speaker on top of the car?
Yeah,
getting ready to go do the big big
live
show.
soul review.
The fabulous, like, and every little word there was another kid from the thing, and he's one of those kids. And I remember like hearing, he gets to my grade school. I guess he moved from Chicago to Phoenix, and next thing you know, I'm like, that kid was a movie star. Somebody had said, and so and then we go on. Somehow I find out that he was on Blues Brothers. This is a couple of years ago, so you couldn't just go rent the thing, so.
Yeah.
But so it took me years and years to finally see it, and then I was like, "Oh, I was in grade school with that kid." Okay.
Yeah, I actually had art. I had an art class with him, and I used to draw all these pictures. And he used to love them because I would just draw all crazy cartoons, and then I'm like, oh wait, like, because he did that. Like, goes one night only, the fabulous, and they go Blues Brothers show band and review.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was very early in our life. Actually, and you know what? There was another guy. Paul, you're gonna love this.
All right.
We went to school with Jonathan Kay, who won the 2001 Phoenix Open. He went to high school with Matt and Sunny Slope.
Yeah, grade school and high school with him. Yeah.
Yeah, I played soccer.
Now look at me.
Yeah, where are we at now?
When's the last time he called you to play 18?
He stopped calling me like in 7th grade. So
yeah. We broke up. Yeah.
Yes.
Seeing like the weird Hollywood thing. I went to high school with George Clooney, Matt.
What? Okay,
Did not.
Full circle. There we go.
Did not.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I sat next to Michael Jackson in English class.
What?
Not the same Michael Jackson.
Not the same Michael Jackson.
You sound like Trump from the Goonies at this point. All right, Michael Jackson didn't use the bathroom in my house, but his sister did.
Yeah.
LaToya?
Different Michael Jackson.
I went to high school with the younger cousin of the lead singer of Extreme.
There you go.
See?
More than words.
Shout out to Dave Monroe. I didn't have anybody famous in my high school.
Yeah, now we're all super famous because of all those touches, right?
What was Nuno Betancourt in Extreme?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was a guitar player.
My girlfriend worked for him on. There you go. So it all comes around.
Okay.
One of my first jobs was at Stop and Shop, very prestigious. I worked the frozen food section, and Nino and Gary Sharon came cruising through one night. I'm assuming half in the wrapper because they were looking for ice cream. But as like a 17-year-old kid, I just stood there like, holy shit. Nice as pie. Nice. Actually, Gary Sharon came out and happened to be at the bar my band was playing at 20 years later. This is when he was in Van Halen.
Right.
And sat and watched the set of my band and actually came up and gave us kudos after. So that was a really fun set to watch.
That's really cool.
And I was like, you're a fucking liar, Gary Sharon.
Right, let's keep this going.
No, he was not. He was awesome. He was one of the nicest celebrities I've ever met in my life. He was so nice. And I was like, you're lying. Cool. You can't take a compliment if you're from Boston. Hey, you're nice. What does that mean? Where's my wallet? Where's my wallet?
Screw you, buddy. I'll show you nice.
Yeah, you guys are great. Screw you too. Wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
You liked it?
That's awesome. So, Ted, we actually let me share my screen again, because we did have a question, which I think can take us for the rest of the show.
Oh.
At this point. All right, so.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So,
what the hell's going on there?
What the hell, Ted?
Yeah, those are my leather days.
Ted's on the right.
Is that when you were in ministry?
That's yeah, exactly. No, that's my buddy Henrik Van Ryzen, and another great person to follow on Instagram, Van Tiki. That's Henrik Van Ryzen of Van Tiki.
Van Tiki
does amazing tiki sculptures, mugs, and artwork. Just really fantastic guy. But I worked with him at K&B Effects Group, and that's of course from Spawn, the film Spawn, Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
Oh wow!
And so I was the one of the dressers on that show, dressing up Spawn every day. And there was one night that we were going to do a test shoot of the suit that Henrik's wearing. Henrik's on the right hand side, the clean cut, good looking one. And that suit was the suit was never used in the film. They wanted it. They were going to test it. They thought they might use it, and it was never used.
Oh.
And
so
they wanted to see.
Could I get it for my company Christmas party?
My guess is that stuff is like long gone. Like actually, you know what? It's funny. The suit that I'm wearing, there's this museum right now on Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood and Highland, called Icons of Darkness, and they've got that Spawn suit.
No way.
On display there. And I got to go in one night when there were no people, and the guy that runs the museum, I told him, I said I helped work, build that suit. And I reached underneath in the crotch, in the flap, because there's a skull right at the crotch. And I said, most of these I cut a groove into and put some snaps. And that was for the fly, so the guy could go to the bathroom. And awesome. I was like, I reached under there. He goes, "What are you looking for?" And I went, "Snap, snap." And I was like, "That." He's like, "What is that?" And it's like, that's his fly, so he can go to the restroom.
Wow.
So I sat and told him all the different ins and outs of that costume, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I glued this." And I looked at it and was like, "Yep, I glued this one together. I know I can. I did all this." And so it was pretty fun.
Wow.
Yeah, that was just from a test shoot that night. So I wore a costume, and Henrik wore a costume. And you see in the back there on the right, those are the clown costumes that John Leguizamo wore.
No kidding. Yeah, I could see him on the left.
And you can see just on the edge of the left, you see a Spawn mask and a clown mask as well.
Wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, this is Spawn.
But yeah, that was a fun shoot. I mean, I gotta say, I got to puppeteer on the Violator creature. Worked on some of the fabrication of the Violator creature, and then was
I gotta watch that movie again. My God, that is so awesome. And anyway, I'm trying to think of the characters. What does the Violator creature look like?
It's that big horn.
He was like a horned version of Spawn.
I think
that's right.
The clown turns into the Violator.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But then he gets this big elongated jaw and the big horns, and he's like 12 feet tall. And that was a huge animatronic puppet that they had built at K&B, and that was amazing to work on.
It was a pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
Leguizamo was really good. He played a creepy.
John was fantastic. Yeah.
Creepy. I mean, the character himself is creepy.
Yeah. No, and John was fantastic in that makeup. I mean, he just was so tolerant of everything that he was put through. He was great. I mean, everybody was great in that film. So
did Todd McFarlane have anything to do with it, like as far as the creative?
He was on set, and I think he had a lot of input. I think he might have come into the shop once at least, but I know he was on set several times. It was very cool. He was a very nice guy. Always would bring a stack of comics and toys, and he was signing them for everybody. And
dynamite artist and sculptor, like the double threat. And his Fat Bastard toy from Austin Powers.
Whoa.
I literally waited outside Toys R Us for it to open because there was like a limited amount of them. And I waited for the kid to open the box, and there was one Fat Bastard toy, and I said, "I want to make sure it works." And he hit the button, and it was like, Sonny, I fucked it. And I'm like, sign me up. I'm taking the toy home. Taking it home.
Taking it home. See, and that's some more McFarlane inspiration back there. I've got some of his new Batman figures.
A lot of them too.
Those are some Batman, and yeah, I've got some Ninja Turtles over here and Frankenstein and whatever. So
you got a couple of Stormtroopers. Like two or three Stormtroopers.
Even more. I got even more stuff up above. So
Jesus, again,
this might be a dumb question, Ted, but do you ever draw inspiration from you have them all around you? I was lucky to look around. Do you ever look at one and like? I mean, it's
kind of like, how are you? What's the new thing I've got back here? Well, it's from NECA. I've been loving their stuff because behind me I've got a bunch of NECA alien figures and
the retro stuff.
And I draw inspiration from all that. There was a werewolf creature I worked on this last year for a friend for a film, and my wife even said the other day, she goes, "You know what that kind of looks like? It's a little bit American Werewolf." And I said, I know. Yeah. Once I built it and saw it, and it was like, yeah. And it's like, how are you not, all of that stuff from your childhood, whether it be from,
it has to be there. Yeah.
It's all there. It's all in your head, and you try to push things and make it look as original, but then something that you have been looking at for the last, 45, 50, whatever years. How does it not creep out?
36 years.
Yeah. 39.
As much as I'd like it now. 54 guys.
Well, Ted, I gotta say this too. You mentioned Werewolf, American Werewolf in London. I'm so proud of my now 18-year-old daughter. We went and we rented a theater in town, and the movie she picked to have all of her friends do a private screening was that movie.
Wow!
Private screening, and none of her friends had seen it, and so they were all enthralled. And I'm like, there's a couple scenes in there where they're nursing, they're getting together, but other than that, it was like. To watch them all and then they started talking about it after the movie and they just loved it. I'm like, but still to this day, not only am I proud of her, but still to this day, when you watch that movie, those practical effects in 1981 hold up to now. It's just mind-boggling.
They're still brilliant.
It's better than anything that's ever been done since for a werewolf.
Amazing.
And I'll say I really enjoyed the Wolfman, the Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, that was great too with Anthony
Wolfman. Hawkins. I like that, but I know Rick Baker doing that makeup again for the Wolfman, and they wanted to do a practical transformation. They were figuring it out, and again with lack of pre-production maybe, or people just not being able to make decisions. They said, "Nah, we'll do it in post, and we're going to do it all CG." And I would have loved to have seen what Rick would have done these days for a wolf transformation for that.
Oh my God,
I still really enjoy the film. The design is great, and I still enjoy the film, but that was that one scene where it's just like, oh, I would have liked to have seen more practical. Of course, I want to see more practicals. That's what I do.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that CG can't be a nice helping hand with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I say go watch The Thing and then tell me that you can't do unbelievable things with practical.
Well, I was going to say, if you saw the new Thing, you'd say ixnay on the CG.
No, Kurt Russell thing. Yeah.
You know where I find CG works? CG works better for me, on an everyday level, in animation.
True.
It's helped perspective. You know what I mean? Whereas animators had to create scenes and then literally animate a perspective scene, which is insane to do, right? Yeah. Now that's all taken care of, like Family Guy. If you watch the backgrounds of Family Guy or The Simpsons, you're like, that's CG.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's where it belongs, right? Because it's believable, because it's a make-believe world.
Yeah.
I agree with Ted where it helps to kind of bridge the gap between practical effects. For those
there's a nice marriage,
do practically. But it should tie right back into a practical effect. Mm-hmm. You don't get grossed out by CG effects. Yeah, I was like Dawn of the Dead. I'm physically ill watching some of that stuff.
And audiences are really savvy these days. They know. An audience will know when something's practical or when it's digital. They know you know, we handle practical things all day long. And so we know if something, but if CG can help push it a little bit and take away a little bit more of that, or give a little bit more mystery to it. And we've done a lot of that stuff, and they've done so much these days. Different artists, there's so many different ones. I'm not even going to try to pull a name up, but you know, the way that they're like can blow half a face off now.
Sure.
Yeah.
On camera like that, but then they do a great makeup and they do the edge and everything like that, and then they do green screen in here.
Green screen. That's where.
And so, like, you know,
yeah,
you know, the cheekbone is gone, or like, you know, a couple of fingers are missing, and you know, you just paint these fingers green, but put a really great appliance around here, and you know, you can turn the hand around and it's gone. You know, and that's where digital and CG comes in perfectly. That perfect marriage of practical and digital. And that's where it belongs.
Walking Dead stuff too. Walking Dead is a perfect example too, because they'll have half of a skull and the bottom part will be green, and then when they go to the thing, it looks like it's dripping, you know, ooze or something like that. That's a great example.
Well, and so many times on Walking Dead where they'll you know, if you've got a machete or a whatever, something that you're going to bludgeon somebody with, and it's literally cut off really blunt, and they put a green tennis ball or a green painted green, so when you swing, the actor's swinging right through the person's head, and they can make the head blow up.
Right.
They add like a baseball bat to the extension, or you know, with Michonne's sword, you know, she's just got, you know, a small little bit of the sword, and then they're digitally extending that. And that's the stuff where digital is just perfect for that kind of stuff.
And it's so clever the way that they figured out how to do that. And it's such little touches, and like even the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, like the scenes where Hyde is Jekyll, right?
You're right, Jekyll,
where he's jumping rooftop to rooftop. But then when you see him, that's practical, and that's badass.
Right. And I mean, I got to tell you, a lot of that stuff, they shot that in Prague. Unfortunately, I didn't go to a set on that one. I helped build Hyde's suit. But a lot of that was stuntmen on wires, or the actual Jason Fleming, the actor,
wasn't,
you know, on wires. So when he's running on rooftops, he's wired, and some of that stuff where the shingles, I think, fall down and you see Hyde actually go to hit the ground. They did that all the way down.
Wow.
And then when he lands on the ground, that's an actual actor, but they've digitally removed the crash pads, which were like 3-4 feet tall. And then the digital of him hitting the ground, that's where digital came in. And then they cut right away and they punch into the real guy.
But that's perfect, right? That's the way it should be used.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm ever in a movie, you can digitally enhance like abs on me or whatever. Have at it, Hoss. Like, you know, the biceps or something. But
I think that's what they did that with Bruce Willis. They actually put in a hairline.
They're not there with CGI yet. They're not.
Yeah. I think they did in one of the.
I See Dead
Well,
People.
some of that stuff. It's like the what was it? The Benjamin Button. You know how much great stuff they did for that. But again, that was people, that was makeup artists, and it was Rick Baker, I think, that did a lot of the stuff on that where they were. Well, I think I mean, there's a lot of people that have their fingers in different pots where they're trying to help out, and it was all going to be digital, and then they decided, well, we actually really need to sculpt these makeups, and they never applied makeup to Pitt, maybe around the eyes or something, or contact lenses, but I mean, they basically like texture map it and put it on, and you know, so you have to have that perfect marriage of digital and practical.
Yeah, you know, Cameron does that pretty good.
He's done it. I mean, like even in the first Iron Man, when I worked on that at Stan's, you know, we had, and all through those Iron Man films, Robert Downey did wear portions of that suit. You know, he'd have the helmet that could close. We had the torso and the shoulders and parts of the arms, and as much as we could get on him, we'd get it on him. You know, some of that stuff's just not practical. You can't do that action. You know, the legs and the pelvis and all that just doesn't quite work all the time. But we'd get as much as on the person. In the first Iron Man, I think there was a full, and even the second one, there was full Iron Man suits. And they would digitally enhance certain areas. You know, you know, the elbows, the knees, things like that, that they would replace fabric parts that we had built.
And Avatar, how much of that? I mean, how much? Because it looks all CG to me. Was there any?
That's all CG.
Okay.
I mean, aside from the human actors and then the sets that the humans are on, that's real and practical. But then the Na'vi and all that stuff. Because I worked on the first one at Stan's, the first Avatar. Well, there's only been one Avatar.
Yeah.
I know nothing of any other avatars. Don't ask me any question.
So what you're saying is they're not coming out with a whole bunch more.
Ted, you're breaking up.
I have no idea what they're doing with that franchise.
Oh, neat. Okay.
So, but yeah. But yeah, that first one, anytime you see like the Na'vi or the creatures or anything like that, because it stands on the first one, we made some kind of motion capture creatures that were just basically, you know, we would foam fab the creatures and then drape them in black spandex. And then those would go on set and were puppeteered by people so that the actors could interact with those.
Have something to talk to. Yeah. Okay.
Have something to talk to or something to grab onto, you know, things like that. So.
That's awesome. That's so amazing. Yeah. I'm so jealous that it took me this long in my life to meet you.
Well,
I really am.
Now that you meet me, I know you got my phone number. Reach out anytime, man.
I am. Well, listen, we have a different time zone, so you might be getting calls at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I think I'm like eating breakfast. And I'm like, I'm not waking Ted up right now.
I might not be answering phone calls.
Like,
well, there is that.
Let me just leave a message. Ted, I'm eating my breakfast. I had an idea last night. I know it's still midnight for you, but I had an idea last night.
Yeah. My sister who lives in Wisconsin sometimes forgets that there's a time difference. And it's only 2 hours, but it might be 6 a.m. or, you know, not that I'm not up at 6, but you know, well, it's 8 o'clock here, and it's like it's not here. Especially on a Saturday.
That's what stinks. Whenever I want to talk to these two knuckleheads, the other two stooges, I'm like, it's 5:30 here. They're eating dinner right now. Is how I feel. Like they're literally like it's the middle of the night for them. So I gotta hold my thoughts.
Hold your thoughts, man.
Write them down. Write it down.
Write it down.
Well, that's just like the doctor told you. I got ADD, and then I'm like, oh, look, a butterfly. Yeah. What was I thinking about? Yeah, exactly. Who was I gonna call? Yeah, those guys.
What's a phone? Yeah.
What's a phone? Is it Friday yet?
Almost.
So Ted, just like last time we had you on, this is the fastest 90 minutes on the internet.
Oh, it's already over.
Exactly.
We are at 90 minutes, but I definitely wanted to go around and look at everybody's creation. So let me start with you.
All right.
Who you can start with?
Oh, this Paul. Oh, hello. Oh. Hi. So listen, it's a euphoric Frank, but I'm telling you right now, I'm going a different direction. I'm taking Frank in a different direction. This ain't going to be Frankenstein. This is going to be a Frank.
Oh.
And if I don't screw it up, it's going to be hilarious. But what I've realized is as I progress as an artist, as we all are on this show throughout the time we've spent together, I've slowed down. Maddie, remember when we could finish one in an episode?
Oh, yeah.
I can't do that anymore because I really spend the majority of my time finding the primary and secondary shapes of the sculpture, which sounds nerdy as hell, I know. But once I get all these shapes and it resembles what I'm trying to do and I start laughing or smiling like it's what I think it's going to look like, then I feel better about it. Like I'll walk away tonight. Like, you know, maybe I'll spend another hour on this. I'm going to wrap it up, spray it down. Like, we say, spray it down, wrap it up, put it in a cool place. And I'm going to hit this thing tomorrow. And God willing, knock on wood, I don't screw it up. It's going to be funny. You know, it's going to be a fun play on it. Now, I think that's another thing that the wheel lends itself to. If we're not so static on, it has to be this, you know, get playful on what we're carving. Like it says Frank, and I'm pretty sure I wrote Frank because I screw up Stein all the time. So Frankenstein. I before E except after C. Yeah, whatever. I'm out of school. So yeah, I'm gonna play with the who Frank is here. So it's gonna be funny. He's gonna be euphoric, and no matter what, I don't give a crap what you think. His name is Frank. All right.
His name is Frank.
You can think he looks like Stan. Not my problem.
Matt, you're up.
Oh,
Look at that.
Right.
Look at those teeth.
okay. So he's not really coming in very clear, is he?
No, you're
here.
good.
Oh,
It looks like you. Which one is you?
so I'm having him be his
Frankenstein.
Well, I can't get away from hysterical. So he's going to be euphorically, insanely. You know, he'd be so happy he's going nuts. And I also too, Paul. I was trying to stay away from Frankenstein. So if I can find something that resembles a person named Frank that I can think of, and I won't spill what I'm thinking right now, but this might be a specific Frank.
I love it. I hope we're thinking of the same Frank.
It just might be. So we'll see. But right now he's pretty sterile. And I'm loving the shape of
love it.
This guy's head and stuff like this little stem sticking out. Yeah.
I love a warty pumpkin. I love the warts on there.
Yeah, he's so great. And I don't even have to go and create these warts. They're already here, which is the best part.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, just to touch on the badass creation that you made from the last time, that literally took till 2 weeks ago, by the way, to get her done, because it's amazing. You added warts to yours, which is
with mine,
dynamite.
Yeah.
Mickey, can you zoom in on his? Look at that.
But the process, and by the way, Ted posted all the process photos. And it's little glue spots, right? And then
it's all it's latex rubber.
Latex rubber.
So okay. I had a little syringe that I filled up with latex rubber, and then I put it onto a plastic sheet, and I would just squeeze all those little dots out and put that out in the sun, let them dry. And there's hundreds on there, and I've got hundreds left over. I've got a sheet sitting right here. There's one sheet with a bunch of little latex warts left over.
Like that, right there, master class.
Yeah, right. I mean, anybody, if you're not following Ted, I mean, just alone, he's an amazing artist, but just to see the progression of from the last time he was on and took this challenge to that monstrosity of awesomeness behind him, just to watch the progress of that is insane.
I'm hoping to for next year. I mean, we're going to be done with all these different jobs.
Don't say pumpkin, because that thing ain't going to last, Ted. All right, we're going to need.
No. I'm hoping to build a lot more and start getting into doing like some YouTube tutorials.
Oh, nice.
And just a lot more like live builds and things like that, and just letting people follow me, and maybe do a Patreon thing, because I think that's more what I'm going to be getting into, and hopefully just kind of like teaching and sharing, and hoping to make a living off of doing that. So, but in the meantime, there's postcards for sale too. So.
I'll tell you what.
All right.
If you
we got to review them here.
I want to see this first before I say anything.
Okay. So euphoric, and I'm going to turn him into like a Frankenstein-ish type monster, but
holy crap.
That's good.
Okay. You've done this before.
Jesus.
I've sculpted before, but I haven't sculpted a gourd. So, and he got a little flat nose there because he's getting thin. So just wanted to get a little bit of the fringy hair, and
I love it.
So I'm gonna have to work fast on him. Get some scars in here, and
oh my god.
So
Harper, we just got beat.
I know.
No,
I was gonna beat the time loud.
Damn it.
Well, you know what?
Not at all.
And I think that's another thing too. Is Matt and I, Matt and Mickey and I, we love your work, and sometimes you forget that you work in reverse too, because you're working with foam. You're a subtractive sculptor.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is literally just a different material for you, the same old thing, different set of tools, and it showed that you were able to get that much done. The whole time complaining about how thin the pumpkin was. Oh, woe is me. Matt, it's the same old story, right?
Here we go.
Oh, always say how thin the pumpkin is just to show.
It looks amazing, Ted. I think one thing
unbelievable.
that you showed in a very short amount of time is you can carve.
Kind of,
no matter how thin it is, you can make.
He's squishy.
It's about to bust through.
Yeah.
I love it.
So,
but that's the sign of a true professional, knowing when to pump the brakes.
no one to stop.
You got to pump those brakes, so you're going to be looking at a couple of very vacant, gigantic orbital cavities.
No, I've certainly done that sculpting foam and things like that, where I do have like a thin wall, and you're sculpting, dremeling down, and having your hand on the inside, and you can feel that pressure. So, it's not that I'm not used to sculpting, but yeah, I've never sculpted anything. Not that I haven't sculpted something organic. The last time I did something organic was my senior year of high school. I sculpted a cow out of a 40-pound block of cheddar cheese.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to brag, but I too have been known to carve cheddar cheese.
Yes.
The one, well, I don't know if I had a 40-pound block of it. Actually, it was 100 pounds, just over 100 pounds when it was done. But it was an advent calendar. It wasn't anything nearly as cool. Mine was more architectural. So
yeah, mine was a cow.
I gotta say, we had plenty of queso dip, and when we had friends over, cheese and crackers for days.
There you go.
It was amazing.
Well, again, this has been a fascinating. Ted, we are definitely you're on the hit list. You're going to be one of our go-tos every time that we need somebody. We have so much to talk about.
Well,
so,
next time I'll use clay.
Oh, here we go.
I'm going to do a different medium every time.
I'm saying, you know what I was going to say that too is we got to start branching out. We are the carvers, but we can't start doing the opposite, right? You don't have to do what we do. Why don't we start doing what?
Yeah, we should try foam.
Because we're getting a masterclass. Everybody watching is getting a masterclass if they know it or not.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say is, Ted, you were talking about you want to start teaching more and stuff.
Right.
If you have a course, if you want to start teaching about how to do foam fab, I'm the guy in line, because I can't show it because I'm literally in like a postage stamp of an area where I can show. But I have a whole line of heads I've made over the year out of foam, and the costumes I made out of foam. And to learn from a master like you to go, man, I'm a dummy. Like if I just did it this way, it would have been so much better. Like that would be so worth it. So I'm first in line.
I do it every day. I mean, these molds that we were talking about, doing the silicone and all that kind of stuff. There was stuff that it's like, I know I should have been doing this instead of doing that. And I did it and it got screwed up. And it's like, well, I did it the wrong way. I still, 33 years in film and probably almost 40 years of doing this stuff. And I'm just like, or over 40 years now. And it's just I'm learning all the time. And I've probably forgotten stuff that I learned that it's like, oh crap, that's right. That's what we used to do 25 years ago. Why didn't I do that on this? And now I've got notebooks all around me.
I feel like learning it the wrong way by yourself is the best way to learn it. That's your experience. Right. Because you have almost a fallback. You learn the right way, but if something goes wrong in the right way, you know how to fix it doing it what do they call it? Mickey Mousing, right? So you Mickey Mouse it, but if you have a fallback, so I feel like that's how you cut your teeth. Learn by yourself, looking at stuff, and then learn the right way, knowing what the material is you're going to work with.
Screwing up is learning. Doing it wrong is still learning. It's like, oh, I could have done it this way, or I could have this worked better, because it'll push you to just keep pushing the art, pushing the craft, no matter what you're doing. I mean, you guys are always coming up with different tools to work in pumpkin, and there's always different ways to do it. And I'm sure there's people you meet that say, oh no, I've always used this. I built this tool, or I did that, and you're like, oh my God, I've had that laying on my desk for the last 10 years. Why didn't I think of doing that?
Right.
So you're always learning.
It's something else to say that everybody should know too, is if you're new to this, especially if you're new to, first of all, if you're new to carving or any material, and you're going to suck for a long time. Yeah. But if you like the suck, you have to embrace the suck. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's a process. enjoy not being
and you have
good.
to keep working.
Yeah,
keep working too, because I mean,
don't get discouraged. Yeah.
How many times have I let clay go for, a year, or not drawing, pencil to paper for a year and used to digital, and you draw, and it's like, oh my God, I'm sucking. You have to do it every day. I think of all these artists that, people go, oh, you're foam, this and that. It's like, just great. You're the best. And it's like, I do it all day long.
Yeah.
All day long.
There's, you look at Thomas Fluharty's stuff, and it's like, it's what he does every day, all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he's brilliant at it. I mean, number one, he's a great artist, but then on top of that, we're, guys like, I've got these little guys, Cleat Shields,
Yeah.
stuff, his Jaws stuff.
I
And
love that set. That's my favorite set of his. It's amazing.
I've got that, and I've got his Indiana Jones as well. But he just bangs that stuff out, and it's just like, well, of course he does, because number one, he's talented, and number two, that's what he does all day long. So of course he's great, but just keep working, just keep making.
Sure, and don't
screw up and then figure it out. No, don't ever get
discouraged. They're like, oh, I did it 3 times. I'm not as good as Ted Haines. I'm not as good as Cleat Shield.
Right.
I'm not as good as Tom Fluharty. I got news for you.
Right.
I'm not as good as any of those. I'm not even as good as somebody tells me I am. I think I suck sometimes. And then somebody's like, oh, that's really good. And it's like, oh, well, you don't do it all the time. I do it all the time. So I feel like I should be doing better.
Yeah.
So the thing,
those artists that we always are, they're always, knocking themselves out. It's like, it's not what I really wanted. I did this big drum. And, Thomas Fluharty or a Cleat, like that, they're probably going, yeah. And I started sculpting and I threw it away. I started over.
Right.
Because an artist is their own worst enemy. It's like they're their worst critic. It's like nobody, I don't care who you are, they're always like, I could push this a little bit further. I think I could do this a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I think that's my favorite part from what I've learned from this show. And before the show, I didn't have this outlet to talk to other artists like this, like real friggin' artists. Like I'd have a buddy that was pretty good at, doing this or that, but actual artists like you or Tom or Cleat, everybody has the same underlying theme, which is it's never good enough.
Yeah.
No.
Because you don't know if you've reached your potential. Tom said it the best, and it was like crazy. The moment you think you're good, you suck. It's like essentially, I'm not paraphrasing, but he was just like, the moment you think you're like there and you've arrived, you've reached the back door essentially. Like you're already past where you should have been. You should. And Mark Evan, I always go back to Mark Evan, who's an amazing pumpkin sculptor and an artist. If you're not like completely afraid of your next project, what's the point? Like you should be afraid if you should have doubts. Right, because that's what gets your creative juices flowing.
Right. No, exactly.
You sit down with anxiety, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And then when you finish, there's that, all right.
And that's every film job. It's like we're using the same materials every job. It's foam, it's fabric, it's rubber, it's silicone, it's this or that. So it's the same materials, but it's always a different character. It's like it's a pumpkin, it's or Yoda, it's a pumpkin, it's a zombie, but it's a costume. It's it's whatever. It's Iron Man. It's whatever. But it's always it's the same materials, but everything's got a new challenge to it. So
yeah, and I'm gonna open up a door. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, sorry, Matt. Go ahead, Mickey.
I'm going to open up a door to another portal with this question, but I want to keep it short because we're going to go another half hour to an hour. But like when you're doing it for clients, you actually have a finish line and you're actually you deliver it, right?
Sure.
So when you're doing it for yourself, you don't have that finish line. So in your mind, it's never finished. So you have this whole perpetual thing. Like you just want to make it better and better and better.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I've done something where it's like, I remember something from a film I did, even from the first film I ever did, where it's like, there was this gag I had to do and there was a material and I was trying to figure out, and I was fresh and new. I was 20 years old. How am I going to do this? And 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, it's like, oh, I could have used this on that. This would have been the perfect material. And it's like, oh, I want to do that gag over. I want to figure out how I could have done that better. And so you're constantly 20 years after, 30 years after, whatever, like that. And it'll be the same with any of these things where it's just like, oh, how do I build a better Yoda? How do I build a better, For the materials I'm using, you know, of course there's, you know, you can sculpt it and run it in foam latex and animatronics and all that stuff. But, you know, I look at all of my stuff and go, I'd like to do this a little bit differently, or I'm not really happy with the shape that took. But when you're doing it for a film project, it's like, well, sometimes you just simply have to be happy with it. And as long as the client's happy, then it's, you know, sometimes you don't agree with the client. Sometimes you're going, that's stupid.
That's artistic. Yeah, it's artistic interpretation. Well,
but that's
to your advantage, the way you're doing it, in my opinion, as an artist, is way harder than somebody that just primarily sculpts with clay and molds it. You're literally fabbing it out of foam to be functional.
Right. It's a different thing. And I have other sculptor buddies that do like clay and all that kind of stuff. And they watch me sculpt and it's like, man, that's crazy how you're doing like all the layers and do all that. And it's just like, well, it's what I'm used to. And I look at their sculptures where they'll bang out like a really great likeness sculpture in a day or two. And just like, that looks just like, you know, whatever, so-and-so that we're supposed to be replicating. And it's just like, that's nuts. And he goes, well, no, what you're doing is nuts. And it's like, okay.
Isn't that a beautiful feeling though, too, to like admire somebody that thinks what you do and they admire you for the way it's like forwards and backwards. It's how your brain thinks. And that's kind of that's my favorite part of doing the show, is just watching how brains, you know, listening to how somebody's brain processes just art in general.
Right.
Because some people can just go, I see it, therefore I can do it. Or we've had like, I'll go back to Jay Hammond, second time I've mentioned him on the show. He'll actually, he'll overlay, he sculpts like photorealistic horror characters, but he'll take a picture of his sculpt and then scale it into and overlay it in a program so he can see both, and then hit those points where he's off and then fix those points. Like he'll use computer to fix for reference. Right. It's like, that's how his brain works. He's like, and then my mind can see it.
And that's what I've always kind of done with things, you know, like I did these puppets for a show called Let's Be Real. It was a political satire show that was on Robert Smigel created it. And there was, I think, like 3 or 4, 6 episodes. I can't remember. But I built like 13 puppets for that.
Wow.
And that was the thing. We would get these like drawings of a flat image, like a caricature of a person. And it was Alec Baldwin. It was Prince Charles. It was the Queen. It was all kinds of political figures and actors and stuff like that. But you have that flat image. Well, I have to turn that into a profile as well, like a 3-dimensional sculpt. And it's like, well, how does that eye bag look once it wraps around? And I did a lot of that ghosting, you know, and I had the pictures of the real people in front of me as well. It's like, okay, well, what was the artist pulling from? But then you have to start to think in that 3 dimension, you know, how do you wrap that around? And I would do the same thing, but I would take the artwork, trace it out, cut it on the bandsaw, start to sculpt away and make it in 3 dimensions, but then take it and overlay it again with the artwork, the original 2D artwork. And it's like, am I hitting this point? Because they were very specific about the nasal folds, and the lips had to be, you know, Bruce Springsteen was one of the most fun ones that I did. And that one just had so much great, you know, character to it. But it's like, when you turn it profile, it's like, I don't know, you know, they didn't design a profile for me. So now it's like, I'm looking at Bruce Springsteen for real in a profile going, okay, well, how would this artist have done that in profile?
Oh, wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah, like from the front, it's Bruce.
It was a fun.
From the side, it's Martha Stewart.
Exactly, and that's
now you pay me double.
Exactly, yeah. No, that was a fun show to work on.
So Ted, you can find him on Instagram at foamfab